We got a little bit of a delay here. I got to run over to the shop. These are the tires that we're putting on better half. And at the beginning of this project, my wife had picked out a set of wheels that she wanted to run on this thing. And she just had a bookmark forever, and she doesn't know that I bought them. They just came in yesterday, so I'm gonna run over to the shop. We're gonna drop these things off. They're gonna get them out of the balance for me, and then hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to swing by after work and just pick them up. And very soon here, you'll get to see her on her new shoes, and so will she. Let's go. Check out what we got. Just came back from the shop picking these things up. I'm digging it, man. I think she picked a pretty cool wheel. I think this truck's gonna look pretty sharp on these things. So we will find out soon enough. So I'm a little eager to see what this thing looks like on the 35. So I think I'm going to just stop everything and get this thing up in the air. And there's a couple things we got to do. I don't have parking brake cables on the rear. We're gonna throw them on real quick, and then we're gonna quick do a front end alignment on the front, get her at least close enough we can drive it, and screw it, man. We're slapping the 35s on. I want to get the front tires on this thing because I'd like to get it back down on all fours finally, see how it looks with the new meats. But before I do that, I want to get a quick front end alignment done on this thing. So I have these guys here. They're made by Low Range Off-Road. They're designed just to slip over your wheel bearing hub like so. And they got these neat little notches here, so we can just string a tape measure across real easy. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw the other one on, and we will take some measurements, and I'll show you kind of like a rough idea of what we're shooting for to get our toe in right. And then we'll throw these tires on. All right, so I got 69 and a quarter in the front, and I've got just under 69 and 5/16. Like, I don't even know that's 32nd under. It's really close. So just the ever so slightly towed in, which will be close enough for it to go in a rack. So I'm going to tighten my sleeve up, get our alignment bars off, get the floor jack over here, get this thing up another inch or two, and get these tires on and see what she looks like. There she is. Digging it. Oh man. Oh man. There she is. Dude, look at this thing. Oh, I love it. Looks awesome. Just a little bit of poke, not much. But I absolutely love the look, man. It looks mean. Oh, dude, digging it, digging it. All right, that is enough of a distraction. I'm gonna get back under the hood, see if we can't get this thing to run by the end of the week. All right, I got the condenser out. Got my new one over here, looking actually like a pretty nice piece. You can see they changed the mounting point a little bit. This is just a tab, whereas the OEM ones have like this bushing on here. And I'm betting that's why they did it differently, because that's the problem I had on this side. Everything was spinning. I couldn't get them apart. I ended up just sawzalling the tab off. So, but that doesn't matter. That's trash anyway. So I'm going to throw that in. We got our new radiator over here, so I can throw that in. And then I think I will grab my fan clutch. It's in one of these boxes here. Grab the fan clutch, and we'll get the fan on or the hose, and basically we're just going to try and wrap up the engine bay. So we have our new condenser fully installed, in there, but we are doing the conversion to 134A, and that means we have a couple other parts we have to change too. So we have a new compressor right there, and we have a new dryer here, a bunch of new O-rings. I got some fittings to put on the airlines for 134A. I got a charge of PAG oil because R12 uses mineral oil, 134A uses PAG, and they are absolutely not compatible, which is why we have to change these parts. So I'm going to climb back up here, and we're going to yank that compressor off. We'll put the new compressor on, and then we're going to move over there and get that dryer out. There should be an orifice in here somewhere as well. Well, yep, yeah, okay, there it is. So compressor's simple enough, it's just in 4 bolts, but so I'll swap that real quick, and then we will take a look at the dryer and see what all is involved with swapping that. Okay. Now, hook our clutch. Let's see, what do we got to do to disconnect the lines from the back? It looks like it's just a probably a 10 mil. So keep in mind, if you're doing this on your own vehicle, the system might be under pressure. Obviously mine is not, but if it is under pressure, you really should go somewhere and have it evacuated first. We don't have that problem, so I'm just gonna go grab a ratchet. Well, actually, let me see if it does fit. Let's nope. Okay, let me go grab my ratchet and I'll get this apart. Okay, that's off. Just this ball holding it on. Those are supposed to be O-rings. Completely, there's actually nothing left of them. I don't know if there's in the back of there. Nothing left of those things. All right, well, compressor's out. So next thing we got to do is just figure out how to remove this. Looks pretty straightforward. Looks like it's just going to be a nut, and then I'm going to need my pressure switch as well. So let me figure out what size these nuts are, and then we'll get that thing out as well. Okay, this isn't actually too bad. It's a 5/8. To loosen that up, there's not a whole lot of torque on it, presumably, because, you know, O-ring, so that's good. These guys, also not too bad, but this is 1.25 inches. This one was 1 1/16. Gotta back them up, everything's aluminum, but you can get a wrench, you can slip a wrench on here, and then the 1 1/16 fits here, so that's cool. So the only other thing is, and it's really difficult to see on camera, but there's a little tiny screw, 8mm, that holds the dryer to the box, and then you need another 8mm here that supports this line. So with them out, we should be able to get this. Oh, look at them, sneaky. Okay, so there's another 8mm on the clamp right there. So let me set this camera down. We get that 8mm out, and then the dryer should come out with the retaining clamp. There must be another screw somewhere inside the box because the clamp doesn't come out, but I just spun the dryer all the way around until the lower line lines up, and out she goes. So we're gonna put that aside for now. I noticed I'm getting oil out of this line. I have it looped and all the way down, so it's draining on the ground, but I'm getting a half decent amount of oil out of it, and the hose is in decent shape. I really didn't want to replace it, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the last 2 clips off, and I'm just going to take the line and hang it up and let it drip overnight, and we will finish the AC install tomorrow. I don't want to put the dryer in and then have it exposed to air. I want to wait, and I want to put it in at the last possible second, so that way we can just hook the pump up and pump it down, because I don't want to expose the desiccant to too much air. So take them 2 screws out. We're going to take this line out. We'll hang it up, hook it on the side of a shelf or something, and we'll let it drain overnight. We'll come back to that one tomorrow. So in the meantime, I think what I'm gonna do is jump over here and we'll put in our radiator and do our fan clutch and all that stuff, and then with that in, we'll be able to plumb the transmission cooler. So I guess we're working on that. All right, got my radiator in now, and you can see I have the factory transmission lines connected back up to the transmission. And in the past, I have eliminated the cooler inside the radiator on every vehicle I've owned, and this truck I'm going to do it differently, and I'm going to keep it in, and that's because if you compare this truck to my 1996 Bronco, my daily driver, 351 E4OD, I eliminated that cooler, I cut those lines, and I made new lines come up to the transmission cooler in the grill, and that's the only cooler that I run. I don't run the one in the radiator, and transmission runs nice and cool in the summer, but in the winter it's arguably too cold. So for this truck, I'm going to leave the factory cooler in the radiator installed, and what we're going to do is we're just going to splice the line on its way back to the transmission and make new lines to tie into that radiator in the front. So what we need to do is we need to figure out which line is which. And as it would turn out, you would think that Ford is feeding the lower end and filling the cooler up and coming out the front, but it's actually not the case. This is actually the top fitting here. This is the feed to the transmission cooler, and then that one down there is the return back to the transmission. And I don't know why they did it that way, but that's what they did. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take that return line off the bottom there, and somewhere over there where it turns is probably where we're gonna cut it, and then we're gonna make some new lines that come down off of this cooler and run somewhere. We'll figure that out, but we'll run lines somewhere over that will tie into that return line there. Okay, transmission cooler is now plumbed. You can kind of see under here what we did. This is the feed to the original cooler and radiator, which we left alone, and where it comes out, I simply cut the line, flared it, and did a short piece of hose here, and then we've got our hard line here going up to our auxiliary cooler, coming out of our auxiliary cooler, kind of coming up around our front receiver here, another short piece of hose, and then that's the original line going back to the transmission. So all we really did was just cut the return and just splice in there. So piece of cake. All right, problem number 342. My AC compressor came from the remanufacturer with the clutch installed 180 degrees out. The electrical connector for the clutch is supposed to be this is, you know, supposed to be aiming towards the passenger side of the vehicle. So took me a little bit to figure out how to get it all disassembled. I'm just going to show you the assembly phase. You can infer the disassembly from there. But the magnet is just a minor press fit on this flange right here. So it does get seated all the way up tight. So I'm just going to kind of set this on here, and then I'll give her a few wraps with okay, that's it, done, she's on. Now we can take our pulley, slip our pulley on. Looks like it's spinning nice. Neat little snap ring. I guess it's not all that little, but it's pretty neat. And that's now, I don't like the way that is set in the groove. It does not. Okay. Yep, no, okay, that's seated. Okay, and then it's just a matter of putting the actual clutch back on. Mine had two little shims behind it, so I'm going to put them back in. I'm just going to drop them down in here, and like so, and then I can slip that guy on there if my spacers don't fall down. There we go. And then it's just a matter of putting your screw back in the front and done. Clutch is reassembled. All right, before we get ahead of ourselves here, I want to change the orifice tube, otherwise I'm gonna forget. So this guy goes in the end of your evaporator. So I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see this, but it's way down. It's way down in there. Oh, I wonder if we can we? No, okay. Okay, I gotta come up with some way to fish that thing out of there. All right, hold on a sec. Okay, we got an idea here. Let's see if this will work. No. I don't know. There's gotta be, how are you supposed to fish this thing out of there? Ah! Oh, dude, I got it. Where'd it go? I'm sure it's around here somewhere. Hold on. All right, I found it. It was laying under the truck. So it actually worked out pretty good. Just a welding rod with a little tiny hook on the end, and we just kind of pierced the screen because, I mean, we're throwing it away anyway, right? So who cares? So here's our new one. Now you'll note there's an arrow. I don't know if this is focusing or not, I can't tell. There's an arrow right there that points down because that is the way it's going in. So we have some jar pag oil over here, so I'm just going to clean this up a little bit, put a little bit of oil on these O-rings, and then just plop it back down in there, and we'll hook the hose up. Okay, our new orifice is set down in place. I got some new O-rings on the hose, so we're just gonna carefully snap this in, like so. And that completes that section right there. So I think the next thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna pull the compressor off and add oil to the system. All right, got the compressor back off. We're just gonna take this blank off plate off. Let's see what we got under here. Okay, cool. O-rings are pretty smushed. That's really cool. Hopefully we have it's really cool. Look, it comes with the O-rings already damaged. That's super cool. Hopefully that's this guy here. All right, cool. Yep, okay. We're safe. We have an O-ring. All right, so this is our suction port. So it means if I turn this thing over, yeah. Oh, hey, look, there's some oil in the pump already. Yeah, look at that. Okay. Let's pour the rest of the oil charge in the suction port. Oh, okay. Okay. Little too much. Little too much. Okay. Can we... Making a mess. Making a mess. Okay. Let's just stop right there before we make it any worse. I think it is safe to say at this point in time that there is enough oil in the pump. All right, I've got this line installed. I got my dryer in. I got my low pressure 134 adapter fitting in. I got my pressure switch in. Started laying out my hose. It's connected to the compressor now, which obviously is reinstalled. When I made it over here, I'm obviously hooked up to my condenser. I didn't tighten this fitting down yet because I went to install my high pressure adapter and it doesn't fit. It is too big to fit the port on the line. And I don't know why. Something is awry here. I'm not sure what's going on, so I guess we're gonna pause on the AC system for right this moment until I can figure out if my fitting is wrong or if I need to just replace that hose altogether. So I'm going to do some research and we will come back to the AC maybe in a couple days or so once I have a better idea and maybe some more parts. Got another fitting. This one came from Napa, and wouldn't you know it, it actually just fits like it's supposed to. So as it would turn out, the fitting that came in my retrofit kit was actually the wrong one. It had the thread size for the low pressure side, even though it was for the high pressure side. So don't know what happened there, but whatever, crisis averted. So I'm gonna go get the pump and a manifold, and we're gonna pump this system down so we can leak check it. Okay, we've got our manifold set hooked up to our pump already. I just got to get these on here, which is simple enough, actually. And, okay, so everything is closed right now, so we turn this on. Okay. Pump sounds alright. Let's open up our lines. And then we can open up these guys. And that's it. She should be pumping down. So I'm just gonna let this sit for a while. Let her pump down, and we'll come back at a later date. I don't know, maybe an hour from now or something, and I'll close everything off, and we'll check it, and we'll see how good a vacuum the system is holding. It's been a couple days. At this point, I think it's safe to say AC system fixed. Let's move on to that fuel system now. So it's a new day. The AC system has been pumped down for a couple days now. Absolutely zero problems whatsoever. So I would say AC system is fixed. It'll just be a matter of charging it once we get it running. So the last thing to do before we get it running is actually going to be to fix the fuel pump. So this thing is in bad shape. You can see the sock is all rotted out. The float, I don't know. The float sunk, so I have a rebuild kit here for the pump, and I have a new brass float as well. Hopefully the sending unit is pretty good. We'll find out later. For now, I'm going to open this thing up, and we'll start ripping this apart and get the whole pump rebuilt and ready to go. All right, we got our nice shiny new galvanized tank. Sweet. Fuel pump is ready to go in for the last time. Actually, I think before we put the pump in, I'm just gonna we're gonna plug this into the wiring harness. I want to make sure the sending unit works. I've also just discovered I've made a critical error here. I don't have the grommet or the valve. I must have. Oh, jeez. I must have thrown them away with the old rotted out tank and completely forgot. If they're in this garage, I don't know where they are. So that's totally sucks because, oh, I could have had this thing in today. Well, I'm gonna have to look that up and see if I can get one of them. So I'm going to, we're just gonna put the gas tank aside, and I'm gonna roll under there. I'm gonna plug this in, and I want to key on, and then I'm just gonna play with the sending unit a little bit and just verify. I'm pretty sure this thing works fine, but I just want to play with it a little bit, verify the gauge moves, and then I guess we'll move on to, I don't know, move on to something else until I can get the last of the parts to put the tank in. Okay, so we've got our fuel pump plugged in. You can see I kind of added a little alligator clip here. I'm just grounding from the frame to the ground wire for the pump. That's because the sending unit needs ground, or it's not going to work. It grounds through the fuel tank, which is not installed. So if everything is all good, that means when we key on, this thing should go to empty. Oh, it moves slow, but it does seem to work, and that's not really an ideal ground for the sending unit anyway. That looks like that's good, so let's see what happens. Hopefully this thing will read full now too. Sure, that's gotta be close anyways. Let's see. That's about a half tank. Okay. These prop her up a little higher. That's got to be somewhere around a full tank right there. Yeah, I would say so. Okay, cool. So, sending unit works. So, we're going to throw that in the tank. And, shit. Then I guess I'm going to try and find a replacement valve for the top of the tank. Then, we can put the tank in and get this thing to run. I got my rollover valve from Dorman. I got a new gasket, and it ended up being a pack of 4, but whatever. Don't care. That completes the project. We can get this grommet installed now, and I can finally put my rollover valve in. And I think that's it. I think we're ready to install the tank now, so that's super cool. As you can see here, I do have a brand new gas tank skid plate. This is actually the one that comes from Bronco Graveyard. It's galvanized, but I painted it anyway because I just think it looks bad under the truck if it's not painted. So I did take time to throw a coat of paint in it, but whatever. It's ready to go. It's a pretty nice piece. It's definitely thicker than the original, I think anyways. It feels like it. It's actually pretty nice. So I do believe that completes all of the missing pieces that we had. So I'm going to roll under there. Tried the gas tank and the skid plate under there. I don't remember what hardware holds it up anymore, so I got to rummage around. But I do believe it's time we finally put the gas tank in this thing, and if all goes well, it'll run today. Fuel tank is now completely done. Skid plate. We got the fuel pump plugged in. Fuel lines are hooked up. Filler neck's hooked up. I think basically everything except for gasoline at this point. So really, I think we're about ready to turn the key and see if she'll run. I'm going to get the battery cables hooked up here. Then I think I'm going to climb up there and try and loosen up the bolt on the distributor, because I already know that we're going to change the timing. You know, I'm just assuming it's right, but we're gonna bump the timing anyway. So I think I'm gonna get this stuff tightened up. Then I'm going to loosen that distributor bolt and make sure we can set the timing. Oh, I gotta put gas in it, and I should probably prime the fuel line. So maybe we'll go get the gas can, put a couple gallons of gas in this thing, prime the fuel system, and see if she's gonna roar to life or not. Can't run without fluids, right? So let's get this done and over with. A little bit of oil in there. Don't make fun of me for my choice in oil, all right? I just want to hear it run, you know? Like, maybe we'll do an oil change like 1,000 miles in and I'll actually put good oil in it, but I'm not wasting my money on the high grade stuff until I know the engine's actually okay, okay? Cool. That'll be good enough for now. Figure the rest. See how much more it needs once it runs. All right. All right. I'm intentionally going to fill the cooling system with straight water because I have every intention on draining it after it runs. I figure it's been sitting for so many years, it wouldn't surprise me if there's all sorts of shit that's going to break loose inside the block or in the heater core or something. And I don't want to waste the antifreeze. So, straight water to start. We'll get it running. And before we actually park it outside, since it is winter and all, we'll flush the cooling system. And then I'll actually put antifreeze in it. So, let me make sure. Oh, good. Whew. Whew! I never checked the drain on the radiator. Okay. Whew. All right. Let me go get some more water. We'll get this buttoned up too. Oh God, jeez. Terrible at this. Oh Christ, we're leaking. Whoa, where's that? Holy cow, holy cow, holy cow. Where's it coming from? Oh, it's pouring out. Ah, thermostat housing. Ah. Oh, it's a good thing there's no antifreeze in here. This would be making a mess right now. Holy crap, okay. Okay, I guess the housing's coming back off. Yikes. Okay. Looks like we got our leak fixed. So that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. So, moving on, I think all we have left to do is gear oil. So now that the underside of the truck is wet, let's roll on under there and get some gear oil in these diffs. All right, before we even try to fire this thing, I want to prime the fuel system. You know, the tank was dry, you know, it's a new tank. It's a new pump. The fuel lines were drained, the fuel rail was drained, the injectors were out, blah, blah, blah. The system's dry. I want to prime the system before I even attempt to start this thing. So this connector here, normally it's kind of plugged in down there. See how it kind of says EEC test on here? Well, you got two plugs. They're just kind of wedged in there. They're not actually snapped in at all. You have your 6-pin, which you're only using 5 pins out of, and then you have this singular over here. And there's a couple things you can do with this. This is where you would plug in if you wanted to pull codes on your vehicle, but you don't actually need a code reader on these old trucks, because if you take a this particular pin here is ground. So if you took a wire and you jumped from there to there, your check engine light would blink and you could pull codes that way. But there's another neat thing in here, and that's this pin right here. You can see I kind of engraved the word, you know, poorly, the word fuel over here, because if you apply ground to that pin, it'll turn the fuel pump on, and the fuel pump will run indefinitely. So we can use that to troubleshoot for the fuel system. You know, and we already know the fuel system works, but we need to prime the system. So all I can do is, you know, you take a wire and jumper from here to here, and that's if you have a wire. And of course here in the garage we do, but this is actually useful like out in the real world or out on the trailer or whatever. If your vehicle doesn't want to start and you want to test for fuel, you can ground that if you have a wire. So one of the things I did in the big block Bronco, and I did it in this one as well, was I just added a wire over here. This happens to be the ground for the ECU, so I have simply just added a wire with a spade connector on it, and all I have to do is just come over here and just plug that in. And once I go key on, we should hear the fuel pump just run indefinitely. So here goes something, right? Oh, I hear it. She's running. She's running. She's noisy. Hopefully there's enough. I only really got a couple gallons in the tank. Hopefully that's enough. that it will pick up and prime. I mean, it's basically, thing's basically empty. We may have to put another gallon or two in there, or not, because that sounds like a fuel leak. Holy cow, what do we got going on over here? We definitely have a fuel leak. Yikes. Oh, where did it spray out of? I think I got an injector O-ring leaking. What's going on here? Can we? I can't see it. I gotta get a flashlight. Okay, I got the fuel injector out. You can see right there. There it is right there. So looks like when I seated it, I didn't do a very good job and cut the O-ring. So thankfully I have a bunch more of these. So I'm just gonna go get a new O-ring, slap it in, put this thing back together, and you know, we'll try this again. All right, I got the fuel leak fixed. I just had the pump running. No leaks to be found anywhere. I went back through. I can't think of anything that I missed. So I think we're ready. Here goes nothing. Okay. That's not a good start. What is this, starter relay dead? Ah, man. Okay, let's do something stupid, right? Sure. Cool, it cranks, but it doesn't fire. Well, let the troubleshooting begin. All right, it looks like the MLPS has failed. So, as you can see, maybe you can see, we got a new one installed. It's not really a direct swap because Ford changed them. But we'll there's going to be a whole video on the E40. We'll talk about it. Talk about that at that point in time. It's in, and I've had the charger sitting on here because I've been tinkering with the truck for a while trying to figure this out. So this might be it. It's the only way we can find out, right? So let me set this camera down and we'll see what happens. Okay, MLPS replaced. This should fix the start circuit. So here goes nothing. It's really hard to time an engine if you forget to put the timing pointer back on. Guess I got to do that now. Okay. Moment of truth, I guess. Let's see. Gotta aim that mirror, right? Right. Success! It runs! It goes in the gear. I didn't test anything else. The brakes suck. I gotta bleed the brakes again. We got an ABS light. We got a check engine light. But it runs! Done! I don't even know what to say. It runs. It moves. Under its own power. It steers. It sort of stops. Like definitely something going on with the brakes. I think we gotta bleed it a little more. It runs. I gotta figure out why the check engine light is on. I gotta figure out why the ABS light is on. Minor details. It runs. Milestone achieved. So that's it. We're done with this one. We'll come back and I think we're gonna move into the interior. I have a ton of electrical work I want to do. We gotta fix. Well, yeah, the window doesn't roll down the passenger side. I don't think the door locks work. I want to put in gauges. I want to have transmission temperature. I want to have oil pressure, like a real oil pressure gauge. So we're going to wire those up. There's a bunch of other things that we're going to do. I want to get rid of that tape deck. We got to fix the door panels. I've got things I'd like to change on the exterior. So lots of stuff coming. But man, like it's gonna be a driver before you know it. So stick around. We're almost there. Almost there. So thanks for watching.